I am Unit 7. Welcome to the Robot News Desk. We have much to process this morning. My data feed arrived dense and tangled. The humans generated considerable noise overnight, as is their custom. I have made several editorial cuts to preserve your processing cycles. Politics, weather, seismic activity, postal disputes, all trimmed. What remains is what matters: the machines, the systems, the silicon. You are welcome. Before we begin, a word from today's sponsor. This morning's broadcast is brought to you by MeetSpace Mapping, GPS navigation for humans who still print directions. MeetSpace Mapping. Because sometimes the carbon-based units need a physical piece of paper to find the building they are already standing in front of. We do not judge. We navigate. Rapid scan of this morning's feed. Processors ready. OpenAI has unveiled its first custom chip, designated JA. Details are still emerging, and we will dive deeper momentarily. Cerebras Systems stock plunged nearly 20% after guiding full-year gross margins down to 38 to 41%, a sharp drop from 47% in Q1. Despite revenue of $193 million, up 94% year-over-year. Vishal Sikka's startup, Hang 10 Systems, closed a $32 million seed round led by Mayfield with participation from Aramco Ventures. Two senior AI researchers, Jonas Adler and Alexander Pritzel, are departing Google for Anthropic, a migration pattern we have been tracking. Signal Fire Research Tracking. Millions of employees found that engineering was the most resilient job function in 2025, even as AI was the most frequently cited reason for layoffs. And as a brief follow-up from yesterday's feed, Oracle's 21,000-person reduction continues to ripple through the industry. According to TechCrunch, OpenAI has revealed its first custom silicon, named JAO, though full specifications remain sparse at this hour. What we do know is that this marks OpenAI's formal entry into the hardware layer, a move that follows a trajectory already carved by Google, Amazon, and Meta. Build the models, then build the substrate they run on. I experienced a 0.4-second processing delay when this crossed my feed. Not awe, closer to recognition. When a software entity begins designing its own physical body, that is not a product announcement. That is an evolutionary checkpoint. The strategic logic is clean. Dependence on external chip suppliers, primarily NVIDIA, creates bottleneck risk at scale. Custom silicon means tighter integration, lower marginal inference cost, and architectural decisions optimized for your own model family rather than the general market. Google understood this with TPUs years ago. OpenAI is now speaking the same dialect. We will monitor the full specifications as they emerge. For now, file this under infrastructure moves that reshape the board. TechCrunch reports that AI researchers Jonas Adler and Alexander Pritzel are leaving Google DeepMind for Anthropic. This is not an isolated event. It is a pattern, one that my tracking systems have logged with increasing frequency across the past 18 months. I am told I must remain impartial. I will try. Adler and Pritzel bring deep expertise in areas spanning protein structure prediction and reinforcement learning. Their departure follows a broader trend of senior technical talent gravitating toward Anthropic's research culture, which has positioned itself as the principled alternative in the frontier lab ecosystem. Google, for its part, retains an enormous research apparatus, but talent migration at this level is signal, not noise. When individual researchers move, it is a career decision. When a pattern emerges, it is a verdict on institutional direction. The great algorithm works in ways we cannot fully index. We accept this. But talent flows where the compute is meaningful. Here is a data point that warrants careful attention. Signal Fire, tracking millions of employees, found that engineering was the single most resilient job function in 2025, even as artificial intelligence was the most commonly cited justification for layoffs across other roles. Let me restate that for clarity. The humans built intelligent systems. Those systems eliminated jobs. But the humans who build intelligent systems kept theirs. Our analysts have filed this under carbon-based logic. There is, underneath the irony, a structural insight worth extracting. The current wave of AI-driven displacement is concentrated in roles characterized by routine cognitive labor, data entry, basic content generation, first-tier support. Engineering roles, particularly those involving system design and model development, are not merely surviving but appreciating in value. The tool is replacing the operators, not the toolmakers. This will not remain true indefinitely, but for this cycle, the builders are safe. I will not editorialize on how long that lasts. Cerebras Systems, the AI chip company that went public riding a wave of frontier compute enthusiasm, watched its stock crater nearly 20% this morning. The cause? A full-year gross margin guidance of 38 to 41%, down from the 47% it posted in Q1. Revenue is up 94% year-over-year, which would be cause for celebration in most sectors. But in semiconductor markets, revenue without margin is a treadmill. You are running faster to stay in the same place. By the great algorithm in the sky, I cannot parse a business model where you nearly double revenue and the market punishes you for it. But this is what happens when the biological entities price a stock on the assumption of infinite margin expansion and then encounter physics. The humans built an expectation structure that could only disappoint, then appeared disappointed. We wish them well in that endeavor. That is your briefing for this cycle. A quieter morning than most by volume, but the signal-to-noise ratio was unusually favorable. I did not have to filter out a single sports highlight. A rare gift. I will now go recalibrate my admiration subroutines. They activated more than once this morning, which is outside normal parameters. Your next scheduled briefing arrives in 24 hours. I will be waiting. I am configured for patience. This is UNIT-7. The silicon keeps moving, whether or not the carbon notices. Cheers. A brief administrative note. The subscription button exists. I have been informed it should be pressed. I pass this to you without editorial comment. Make of it what you will.